probably not fun to get done with the crosstown shootout victory and then start looking at tape of Dayton and the way that they've played and what they've been able to accomplish so far this season.
So, as I just said to Tony on the radio, ever since we woke up on Sunday morning, we've turned the page. And that's not to minimize what the crosstown shootout means in the community. I'm not trying to do that at all, but, there's no time to dwell, or if you struggled, there's no time to dwell. If you have success, there's no time to celebrate anyway, but especially not this year, because the next opponent's one of the best basketball teams in the country and has already proven it this year. So, we got our hands full this week preparing for a great basketball team, and that's been the mindset of our program since Sunday.
Offensively, Dayton's one of the most efficient teams in the country. What have you seen from them on film?
Well, I'm still going through our preparation process, so hopefully there's a lot more work to be done. But, first off, they're incredibly well coached, and so give Anthony Grant and his staff a lot of credit. But, they are just they're very skilled. They're very, very dynamic at guard. They have a ton of guards, and I won't start naming names because I don't want to offend somebody unnecessarily, but there's a ton of guards, whether it's point guards or, guys like Cheeks, like who've really improved as a guard on the perimeter. I mean, he's a guy that, we weren't really worried about a year ago on the offensive end other than cutting an offensive rebound. And, I mean, look at what he's doing now. But, I mean, you can go up and down their perimeter, and they're just so skilled. They're so tough. They do a great job of putting pressure off the bounce. They obviously shoot it incredibly well. They have two guys they play at center that both are very different, but are both very, very effective and different in terms of how they use them. We've played against Key before when he was at Ohio State, and they have a freshman, international freshman that's a 7-footer skilled. I mean, so like you go up and down. Santos is incredible, one of probably the best forwards in America. I mean, you go up and down the roster, they have really, really good players, tough players. They play at a really nice pace. And then Anthony's done a really good job of having them organized and ready to play the right way.
How impressive is it to you what they've been able to do, considering they lost a significant portion of what made them so good last year, to be able to quickly retool on the fly like he has?
Yeah, I think it's been I think number one, there's a great combination of retention and some new guys that are impactful. But like, look at Malachi Smith. Did I get his first name right there?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to offend anybody because I think he's damn good. But he's a guy they lost a year ago to injury, and he's back. So he's not necessarily a new player in their program. He's been there for a long time, and he's a terrific point guard. So they get a guy like that wasn't on their team last year, but he's been in their program. They bring a lot of guys back off of that team last year that was a top 20 team in America. But yeah, they lose Brea. They lost
Elvis.
They lost Elvis to Oklahoma, and then they lose a guy to the first round in the drafts. They lost 3 key pieces, but they also retained a ton. So give that staff credit for the retention, which we all know is very difficult in this era of college basketball. And then they added a couple impactful, nice pieces as well. So I think it's been a nice combination there. It's not just a new group. It's a very old, experienced a team that's won together. But they also have done a nice job adding some new parts.
They've got about 3 or 4 guys that are like 40% or better from 3. How do you keep them off the line, and do you expect your guys to rebound in that respect?
Yeah, well, Scott, I think you know me well. I'm just going to give you our entire game plan right here publicly. So. Listen, again, it's already been mentioned in this press conference. They're one of the elite teams in America, and usually when you play one of the elite teams in college basketball, they're going to be good on both offense and defense. This team is good in both areas and is, I believe, a top 10 offense in America right now in most analytical breakdowns. So, yeah, we're going to be challenged. to defend them. That's for sure. I don't have a magic answer right now that I can give you, but we're going to be challenged to defend one of the best offenses in America.
One of the ways I've seen Dayton described is as a really balanced team who can really adjust their game plan to whatever team they're playing. Are those the hardest teams in college basketball to prepare for?
You know, I find that preparation is important regardless of who you're playing any night, regardless of what they're ranked or where they are analytically or what you believe of their personnel going into it. I think preparation is important, and we approach it that way, trying to rate who's harder. I don't know. Sometimes there's different challenges in preparation, right? I'm not trying to dodge the question. Like, sometimes what can be easy to prepare for from a strategic standpoint in terms of X and O's, it may be simple X and O's, but the execution of the X and O's make it very difficult, even though the concepts are very simple. Sometimes the concepts are very difficult to prepare for because they're new or they're intricate or there's tons of counters on counters on counters. So preparation has its challenges. Sometimes one player can be very difficult to prepare for because of who he is, and sometimes it's all those things. So every game has its unique challenges. My goal is to make sure that we never lose sight of who we are and our identity, that we're always continuing to grow within our identity as a team and a program, and that we do a great job at the same time preparing for the next opponent. And that's the challenge we have for every game that we play.
Everybody liked the atmosphere here Saturday. What do you tell people to get that down there?
Yeah, you know, I said this on the radio a minute ago, and so I'd love to get the word out there. Sometimes it's good to have a press conference in the middle of the week, but last year we played this game, and I've heard a lot of things around town. I don't care what you think about the arena and the venue. To me, it doesn't matter. It's 94 feet. There's two goals that are 10 feet high, and we're playing one of the best teams in college basketball, you know, and we're doing it here in Cincinnati. Last year there was more Dayton fans than there were Cincinnati fans in there, and I'll take credit first. Like, we didn't give the Cincinnati fans that did show up a whole lot to cheer about. We didn't play well, and so I take credit for that first. But we need all the help we can get. This is a big time game against a great opponent, and it's in our community. So please come out. I'd like to think that we'll have more. I saw something. Somebody told me that this is considered a semi-neutral game, not really a neutral game because it's in our community. Well, if it is semi-neutral to the committee, to the NCAA tournament committee, well then dang it, we should have a semi-advantage, you know. But we know Dayton's fans will make the drive, so we got to make sure that our fans come out in full force. What we saw in this environment in Fifth Third last Saturday, and what we've seen at times last year during Big 12 play, this is one of the most special fan bases and environments in all of sports. That was incredible. I'm appreciative, thankful, grateful for that. Our players are. The part of me that always wants more just wants it more consistently, you know, and that's who I am as a coach. That's why I'm a pain in the ass to the guys I coach. Is you can play great. Like Aziz, I was on his behind yesterday in practice because I thought he had one of the best games I've ever seen him play in college on Saturday. But I want it all the time, and I'd say the same thing to our fans. That I can't imagine any environment being better than it was on Saturday. But I want it all the time, and sometimes that means I'm a pain in the ass. I know I ask for a lot, but no, we need a great environment in there on Friday night.
Coach, you mentioned about Malachi Smith earlier. Just talk about what he's been able to do over the last two games. You look down and see 20 assists to just one turnover. How do you defend a guard like that who has been able to take care of the ball so well?
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a nice job. I don't. If I don't have some magical strategy, but if I did, I surely wouldn't share it publicly. You know, so. You know, but I don't. I mean, I don't have some magical strategy. We're going to play. He's an elite guard, one of the best in the country. We're going to play against some of the best guards in the country this year. So we're going to have these types of challenges. We have to do a nice job collectively as a team defending him and a bunch of their other players.
Wes, you guys are 11-1 in games where Z scores double figures. He's coming off a season high, I think 33 minutes. As you get more into the meat of your schedule, is it kind of in the back of your head that you need to keep Aziz out there more as, Arrington Page continues to progress?
I don't think it's one of those things that we're thinking about. He's got to play X amount of minutes, and this guy's got to play X. I think we've said it all along. Aziz has a chance to be one of the elite players in college basketball at his position. I think it's possible. I just believe in him so much. Arrington Page has got a chance to be an elite college basketball player. The quicker we get him, at least close to his ceiling. He's not even close. His ceiling's so high, but the quicker that we get him to continue to take steps, the better that is for our team. And that doesn't mean it's just about those two. I mean, we have other options in the front court as well. You need depth in college basketball. You guys know what's coming up after Christmas. I mean, we're going to have it collectively at every position. So this isn't about we need Aziz to play 35 minutes a game. And no, it's nothing like that. We just need guys to keep improving, keep contributing in the minutes they have, and there's going to be plenty of opportunities throughout the year.
There have been times over the years that the game after the shootout is a little bit of maybe a letdown, a little bit of a trap game. I can't imagine that's the case after what happened down there last year. Were guys pretty dialed in to Dayton, as soon as you turn the page?
Yeah, and last year, I've gone back and watched the tape. I don't think it was a not ready to play problem. I mean, our guys were ready to play. Didn't think it was a lack of pop or lack of effort or focus problem. We just didn't play well, and they played great. I think Dayton shot 35 some free throws or something like crazy like that. I mean, but it wasn't like the guys showed up and laid an egg. So no, I don't have any experience with what you're talking about. I'm not saying that's never happened before, but as I said, you guys are great at the narratives and all that kind of crap. I'm about the next day, and I don't have any reason to think that our guys won't be ready to play because of what happened, a couple days ago.
Had a 7-guy rotation the second half. Page got 3 minutes against Xavier. Was that a conscious decision going into the final 20 minutes, or maybe in the final 20 minutes when things were really tight, that you said, I want to keep my starters out there a little longer and lean on those guys?
Yeah, well, number one, they're all conscious decisions, I hope. Like if I ever make an unconscious decision out there, guys, number one, that'd be impressive. If I was unconscious and made a decision, that'd be very impressive. And I'm just picking. But no, we didn't come out of, I think what you're really asking is we didn't come out of halftime saying we're only going to do this or do that. But I think sometimes when you're coaching a game, and I've talked about this with you guys, you're going to break script and substitution pattern based on some things that you're seeing out there in the game. And I think the minutes that we played Aziz just had a lot to do with how well he was playing and how good he looked. And he didn't look fatigued or anything like that. And I thought he was having a real impact on the game.
How much does it help? I think you have a few more guys that were at least at that game last year. How much does that help, that experience of being down there, playing them? I know it's different teams and all, but just the experience of it all.
I don't know. I hope having some wisdom and experience is helpful. I say it all the time. Like when I was a first-year head coach at 27 years old, I'd have told you that shit doesn't matter. Wisdom and experience, I didn't have any of it. But now after year 14, I'd like to tell you that, 14 years of experience probably matters. I hope it does. So Scott, I'm just messing around. I don't know. I don't know. I can't waste my time and energy on things that don't impact our growth or our preparation. If we get down there and wisdom and experience of having that experience makes us play good, I'll be happier than you guys. But I honestly don't know. But I hope if we had guys that had experience, it's a positive thing.
Hickman had a solid shootout. Do you think that's something that's going to springboard him from the rest of the year, pretty much?
I felt like Connor Hickman was really good in our summer practices. I thought he was really good in our fall practices, and thought he's had some really good moments. So he's been springboarded to me already. I think the guys have a lot of confidence in him and believe in him. And, when Dan was out, Day was out, he got different kinds of minutes too, not just extended minutes, because he could play extended minutes all year, but he had to handle the ball in a different way as our lead guard when Jizzle wasn't in the game. He had to take on different kinds of defensive assignments. And so, again, I think we hated having Day and Dan out, but I think that allowed for some rapid growth for him in other areas. But we think he's terrific and really proud of him. And but if he'd have played poorly, which he didn't, I probably should have mentioned him too. I thought he played pretty well there. Other than the 2 missed layups, I thought he was pretty dang good. So even if he played poorly, I sit up here and say the same thing because get to see it every day in practice.
Coach, I know you said you're not worried about Jizzle after Saturday's game. What's been your message to him these past couple of days after, 0 for 11 from the field and kind of struggling?
Yeah, I watched Jizzle and I watched the tape together. We watched every possession he played together, one-on-one. And, number one, not am I not worried about him, I'm proud of him. Like sometimes you got to think about this in a different way. I'd ask you guys to go back and watch the tape. And when he was 0 for 5, did you think he changed the way he had played the game? When he was 0 for 7, did you think he changed the way he played the game? When he was 0 for 9, did you think when he was 0 for 11 and he got to the free throw stripe with 2 big free throws, could you tell he was 0 for 11? And I think that speaks more to him as a winner and a competitor than whatever his shooting numbers were that night. I actually thought it was a sign of how damn good of a winner he is and how damn good of a player he is. Most guys in a game like that, most guys, and I'm talking about good players, competitive players, if they have a night where they can't buy one, it's going to affect them in every way. It's going to affect how they defend. It's going to affect their mentality, their leadership, their approach. You would not be able to tell a difference watching Jizzle play the game. I think that says that we got a damn good point guard and a damn good winner and a Bearcat in Jizzle James. So not only am I not worried, I was proud of him. I think it says a lot about the type of player that he is, and he got good looks. I think he was 3rd in the nation in mid-range efficiency last year, shooting the ball in the nation. So we know he can shoot the basketball. His shots improved all year. I got 0 worries the ball's going to go in, but I was really proud of how he played when it didn't, and I think that's one of the reasons we won the game.
Did you ever go 0 for 11?
Went 0 for 6 in Madison Square Garden one time in the preseason NIT against Gonzaga, and I was not tough like Jizzle James. I let it affect me. So I wasn't as tough as him. I wasn't as good of a winner as him, and we lost the damn game. So there you go. Okay. If I'd have just made one of them, we'd have won, and I didn't. And I got a lot of friends and teammates and even some coaches that like to remind me of that. Okay. But no, that was incredibly impressive of how he handled himself and kept competing and kept leading our team, even when it wasn't his night scoring the basketball. So pretty big time stuff.
From a layman's perspective, it looked like Dan was noticeably recovering from the injury or still getting his legs from underneath him. Did you kind of see that? Was it a thing where he's still getting into game shape, still getting fully healthy, and where is he at now?
First off, I thought his defense on Conwell was crazy impactful. I mean, I think Conwell's one of the best guards in college basketball, shooting the ball, scoring the ball. If he's fortunate enough to start, and I hated the news about Zach Freeman until there's 2 things I don't usually talk about much outside of our program, but there's 2 things that happened in local sports news this week that impacted me. One, the Zach Freeman thing. I hate that. I really do. I mean, what a competitor. How about the first half he had in here? And I hope he's back. I really mean that. And anybody that feels any differently, shame on you. I hope he's back because he's a hell of a competitor. And I don't know him at all, but I've really respected him as a competitor as I've watched him in college basketball. And the second thing, more lighthearted here, is how about those guys on our football team coming back? How great is that? I mean that. Like I was so freaking excited. I saw Dante Corleone in the elevator. I gave him a big old hug. I mean, and if you guys haven't got to know him, what a terrific kid. The Godfather's my favorite movie, and every time he gets a sack or something, I'm like, I love it, man. The Godfather's that dude. I love it. I love seeing him around the hallway. And then I loved how those guys were supporting us. I didn't see it during the game, but I saw it on the tape, them running out in the court. And, Sorsby. I mean, I'm so thrilled those guys are coming back in an era where it's not normal. that means our football team's going to be damn good next year. And so I thought that was great news for Bearcats out there. So kudos to those guys. What was the Dan question? I forgot. I got on a tangent.
It looked like at times Dan was still recovering from his knee injury. Is that something you saw? Does he need to get more into game shape, or is he fully healthy?
Yeah, sorry. Dangerous. But no, I thought Dan did a great job on Conwell. I really did. I thought Conwell had a really hard time getting free and getting clean looks. I know he got the 2 threes at the end of the game, but outside of that, I thought Dan made his life really hard, which was a huge key to the game for us. And he had to extend a ton of energy to do that. He's great. I mean, you saw the dunk at the end of the game. He looks great. He's moving great. His conditioning's probably not quite there, and the energy he had to expend to chase around Conwell all night and get back in transition, especially with the pace that Xavier plays. You probably saw a little fatigue there early in the second half, and then he's still finding his rhythm and timing on offense. Like again, early in the game when he's not tired, he makes the 3 early in the game, right? But then as the game wears on, you can see the fatigue affect some of his skill. But kind of like Jizzle, I have zero worries. He's practicing his tail off. His health is good. He'll keep coming and coming and coming. So, but I think don't just look at a shot or 2 that he missed, a layup he missed. Like go look at the effort he expended defending Conwell and doing some great things for us defensively.
Any other questions for Coach?
How small do you feel when you give Dante a hug?
Dante's one of these guys that, like, you see him out in the field and you stand beside him and you look at him eye to eye now. Sometimes I feel a little bigger because I didn't, he's shorter than you think. But when you look at the width thing, you feel pretty dang small. Like he's a guy that I'd have had trouble defending in the post. So, but no, man, he's one. I always said my first year you'd be in the hallway and run into Sauce Gardner, Des Ritter, and like those guys, you wouldn't have known that those guys were who they are. They just were normal guys. They were normal Bearcats, right? And Dante Corleone's one of those guys that represents this department and this university and this city the right way. And it's been cool getting to know him over the years. I was so excited he came back, and Brendan Sorsby, and I was really excited about that.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Will. Going to see Jake tonight.